Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. My name is Austen. I'm from Greater Fort Wayne Incorporated. I'm the interview manager and the try to bring in new people, bring in new life, um, younger people. We're looking to rejuvenate the Fort Wayne area. We just try to bring in new people every year, and so I understand you're interested in our summer internship this year. Um, so I guess we're just gonna roll in and get started. So to start off, I'm gonna go over what we're doing. We're going to go over 10 interview questions. Um, some a little more difficult than others, but just answer them as best as you can, and we'll go from there. All right? Sound
All
good?
right, sounds
All
good.
right, let's get into it. All right. So, my first question is why exactly are you interested in this internship?
I'm interested in this internship because I think the opportunity is great for me to further myself, to better myself, and there's just a great culture and a great atmosphere around here for me to do that.
All right. All right. Next, I kind of want you to discuss your resume, maybe what's going to be good for this interview that's on there, what's not so good.
Well, yeah, as you can see on my resume, my experience is really beneficial to the position. I have a lot of qualities that meet up to the standards of what this position asks for. So I think that's going to be a big help for me as I move forward and hopefully into this position.
All right. My next question is what are your strengths? What are some of your better qualities?
My better qualities is communication. I love to talk, so I'm always willing to talk to anybody, everybody, all the time, and just kind of making sure everybody understands what's going on and that we're all on the same page. And that's something I take very seriously in any position. So I think that would be my biggest strength.
All right, and then along with that, not following that up is what are some of your biggest weaknesses?
I'd say my biggest weakness right now is the overall experience.
Yeah.
You know, being a kid right out of college, you're always looking for that next opportunity to continue to learn. So, my experience right now would probably be my weakness.
All right. Within the next 10 years, where exactly do you see yourself?
I see myself hopefully still in this position, settled in here, being very involved in the Fort Wayne community with my wife and my three kids. Um, just kind of looking to continue to integrate into the Fort Wayne community within this job and within this company.
All right. Awesome. Um. So next, I want to know. Give a time where your supervisor did something or made a rule or somewhere along those lines, and you just didn't necessarily agree with it. How did you react to that?
Yeah, I was actually in a position, actually at a restaurant where my supervisor kind of came in, and she had this. You put a note in policy if you need off, give it at least 2 weeks before. Well, she came in and tried to start a new policy where it needed to be 3 months before. And as you know, life can happen pretty quick, and that was something we had to sit down and we addressed the issues that we felt with her. There was a couple. I kind of rallied a couple other employees that I knew were in the same situation, and we just kind of rallied together and kind of put together a pitch and talked to her and just explained, okay, life happens pretty quick, and this is not a very good policy to have.
All right. So going off that, kind of, you seem like you handled it pretty well. But do you think there's anything that may have went wrong, or that you guys could have done a little better?
Yeah, I think we could have been more open from the get go. She had kind of hinted at changing the policy for a little while. So I think we could have been more straightforward from the get go and said this is not going to work. Um, but at the end of the day, we got it all figured out, so that worked out in our benefit. But yeah, I think being more straightforward and better, communicating that message to her better.
All right. Yeah. So my next question is going to be how name a time where you have made a mistake, and how exactly did you handle that mistake?
Yeah, actually, it was on my third practice as a ball state manager. I went through and I was on the clock and doing live stats during practice, and I went through and completely messed up on one of the drills with the clock. Um, And for me, I'm always one. I like to take ownership of the mistake. So after practice, I went up to the head coach and said, "Hey, that's my bad," and kind of asked for more clarification on what I needed to do for that drill, just to make sure I was prepared for the next time.
All right. So say you're at work and we work in kind of a close knit community, but maybe one of your coworkers are having a bad day and they're getting angry, they're getting worked up, and maybe they cross a line. How exactly would you handle this situation?
I think in that situation, you have to sit them down, and you have to really communicate with them to figure out, okay, what's going on, and really kind of get to know them personally on what's actually happening with them personally. Because if you don't know the situation, you don't know what the person's going through. You know, they could be hiding a bunch of stuff that they just don't want to talk about in public at work. But I've seen several cases where somebody loses a relative, and it's a hard time going through something like that, and you don't know what you're saying at all the times in that moment of adversity, and so I think it's better just to pull them aside, away from everybody, but don't make a scene about it.
All right. Um, Second to last question. I want you to give a time where you went above and beyond the requirements of a task that you were required to do.
Um, Above and beyond, I would have to say when I was working at the restaurant, we were always told we have a county fair, and business is normally really slow for us during that time. And my boss kind of came up and she's like, well, she goes, I just want to make sure everything's kind of, at least cleaned up towards it's a little bit more presentable. Not that it wasn't clean, but just a little extra cleaning to where, and I went and at that point in time, I pulled everything out, kind of went through and did a deep clean where I pulled everything out possible that I could to make sure everything was clean. And then we ended up finding an area that we had to have people come in and specially clean it because it was going to be a health code violation. So at the end of the day, it helped the business out a little bit more.
All right. The final and maybe even the most important question, and the reason we're here today. What can you offer us that someone else can't?
I think for me personally, I offer a positive energy. Um, One thing is I never look at anything in a negative aspect, and I think the more positive outlook you have on something, the more growth you can have as a person, as a business, as an organization, as in general. I think that's a big thing that can really help bolster this operation here, and hopefully, in the long run, make everything much more effective than it is today.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate meeting with you. So, what's gonna happen is we're gonna take this interview. We're gonna keep it in mind. We have a few other interviews we're gonna do, and we have a couple positions open. So what we're gonna do is in 2 weeks from now, we'll give you a call back, December 5th, and on December 5th we'll give you a call back and let you know how we're feeling about you. All right.
All right, awesome.
All right.
I
Sounds
appreciate
good.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.